without further ado, let's get started with this month's Power Up Thursday session. This month, again, we will be talking about how to master student engagement with Sertifier, and I will be giving you examples, real-life examples, from the case studies that we completed with our customers. And also, I will be sharing the best practices around student engagement and increasing student engagement through Sertifier. So, during the next 45 minutes, we will first talk about why student engagement matters. Then we will be moving on to how to track engagement with certifiers, then how to increase the student engagement through the credentials that you are sending. And lastly, before we move into our live Q&A session, at the last 15 minutes of this month's Power Up Thursday, I will also be giving you real-world examples led by our customers. So whenever we start talking about engagement, and especially engagement in the sense around digital credentials, so we first have to talk about what is the cost of low engagement for all of the issuers that are working on the campaigns and sending out credentials to their recipients. And the first point is that low engagement means that you are not getting the enrollment and retention that you have the capability to get from the credentials that you are sending out, which is directly connected to the brand visibility through the shares and also the downloads of the credentials and the visibility that you will be getting from those credentials whenever they are being shared or placed on email signatures or CVs. And it also comes up in terms of limitations in community building as well, because whenever students are sharing their credentials on LinkedIn, either it's on LinkedIn or Facebook, it creates a moment of appreciation. And it also creates a moment of congratulations as well. So this really helps with both for recipients to engage with each other, but also for the issuer organization to engage with their recipients and students as well. So all of these combined means a loss potential for the brand growth that you can possibly have through the low enrollment and retention rates. And at the end, since you are both investing money and also your valuable time to prepare and send out those digital credentials, the return of investment that you can get is also not to its full potential. So to be able to fix that, we also have to take a look at why student engagement matters too. Because first of all, we already talked about how it increases your brand visibility through shares, but another integral part of the engagement that you are getting is also the program awareness. The enrollments that you will be getting from the awareness around both your programs, your certificates, and your badges. So really, the digital credentials, when we go a step further from congratulating the recipients, they turn into marketing tools that can work for you. And so you can think of it as a passive way of driving engagement as well. And also another thing that we see is digital credentials and the engagement really builds up long-term loyalty, and you will be able to see returning students, returning recipients, and customers that want to get more of your credentials and be enrolled in more of your programs. So, whenever you start working on the student engagement and driving your engagement rates higher, you can see up to a 35% increase in your course completion rates and up to 20% rise in learner retention. And these are the rates that we are seeing from our issuer organizations that are performing the best with the highest engagement rates. So the next step after learning how student engagement can really benefit your organization is learning tracking engagement in Sertifier. So we will be going over the analytics, And I will first show you the analytics dashboard, which is the summary page where you can see all of your rates and also compare those rates to the industry averages. And then we will be talking about creating engagement reports that you can export and share with your other team members. And lastly, we will touch on identifying your most engaged and impactful recipients so that you can also work on awarding them with more credentials and recognition. So let's switch over to the app. And whenever you are in your Sertifier account, in the left menu right here, you will see the analytics. And analytics will give you detailed information about your credentials, about credentials that are about to expire, with your engagement rates, and also detailed information about your recipients. And the first step that we will be talking about is the summary page. And this is where you can see a snapshot of all of your credentials. However, you can also create filters, apply filters to get more detailed reports as well. However, the one of the most useful parts of this page is that you will also be seeing industry averages for all of the metrics. So for example, here I can see that the industry averages, meaning the rate of those issuing organizations similar to mine, see about 52% open in their emails. And I can see that my open rates are even higher than the average. So that's something that I can be proud of. But when it comes to the adding to the LinkedIn profiles of the credentials, for example, I can see that I am a little bit left behind. So I can pinpoint the specific issue that I have to work on. And after identifying which of the engagement metrics that I have to work on and which of the metrics I am successful in, the next step is to dig deeper. We will be doing that in the second tab, which is the credentials tab. This page is really powerful because, first of all, you will be able to see the status for all of the credentials. So you can see whenever the credential is delivered, whenever it's opened, whenever the credential page is viewed, and whenever it's added to the LinkedIn profiles or shared on any other social media platform. And this page will give you very powerful filtering as well. First of all, you can filter by status. So for example, if I want to see the list of recipients who added their credentials to LinkedIn, I can apply filters to do that. And I will be seeing a list of the recipients and credentials on LinkedIn profiles working for me. And the next step is, after creating your report, you can also download this as an Excel file directly to your device. So it's easier to collect that data, it's easier to store it, and also it's easier to share it with other people that you are working with. And the last page, that the last analytics type of reporting that I want to talk about, is the recipient engagement tab. And this is where you will be seeing your top recipients. The reason that I'm talking about and highlighting the top recipients is because, as you might know, we do not price the number of credentials, but our pricing is based on the number of recipients. So you have the opportunity to send unlimited credentials to one recipient that is in your account. And seeing your top recipients and awarding them for being recipients with the most credentials or sharing the most credentials can also help with your community building and also your retention, your learner retention as well. So it's also important to take a look at the recipients who are excelling with their credentials. Let's get back to our presentation. And once we learn how to track student engagement with Sertifier, now we can start talking about how to increase the engagement rates. And we divided those tips and tricks into 3 parts. We will start with low effort but high impact, and then we will build our way up to high effort strategies that you can implement. The first thing that you should be doing is enabling engagement reminder emails. And engagement reminder emails is one of the newer features that we have, but since its launch, we've seen a great increase in organizations that are utilizing this feature. Let me show you how you can also benefit from this feature too. So whenever we are building a campaign, let me go into one of the campaigns that I have prepared for you before. In the campaign options tab, which is the page that you can first customize your social sharing text, but also set up your email settings. You will see the engagement reminder emails, and once you turn this toggle on, you will be able to add up to 3 reminders that you can customize based on different situations. So one of the best practices is setting up reminders for first who didn't open their credentials, for people who didn't open their credential emails, one for who didn't view their credentials, and one for who didn't share their credentials. And then you can also customize which times you want those reminder emails to be sent on. So for example, let's say after 3 hours, if they didn't open their email, I will send a reminder. After 1 day, if they didn't view their credential, I will send another. And after 3 days, if they didn't share their credentials, the system will handle the emails for me. So all I have to do is just setting up the engagement reminder emails. These will be automated and will remind your recipients to take the necessary actions to make the most of their credentials. So that's one thing that you can do very easily, very quickly for all of your credential campaigns. And the next thing is also customizing the social sharing text. This text will be popping up whenever the credentials are being shared. So this is your place to highlight any parts of your program or courses that you want out there being shared. You can also include any hashtags, and these hashtags, you can also choose custom hashtags for each of your different campaigns. So whenever you are searching for shared credentials on LinkedIn or Facebook, you can just type in the hashtag and all of the shared credentials will be coming up. So one thing is enabling engagement reminder emails for all of the campaigns that you are setting up. And then the next step is editing the social sharing text to highlight what is special about your program and your course, and adding custom hashtags for all of the different campaigns that you have going on. So these were the low effort but high impact strategies that you can easily implement for all of your credential campaigns. The next step is the medium effort ones. And in this section, we will be first talking about customizing your credential emails and then engaging with your students on social media. And let's go back to the app. And in the app, you will see on the right side of the screen, whenever you are on the campaign options, the email template that you can choose from already made templates, or you can create new ones and customize the templates. So let's go into one of the templates that I have prepared for you before. And you will see that not only am I using my logo, and I am also applying branding settings to make the email truly mine, I'm also, first of all, including additional information about the credential that they received. And also, I should be encouraging the recipients to share their credentials, to engage with their credentials, to download and store it so that they can also have that moment of push from you as well to take the next steps whenever it comes to utilizing their credentials. And another piece of customization that you can easily implement is enabling the helper text that you can see right here, which will include a link for our video that tells your recipients how to download, how to share, or how to embed their credentials to their email signatures. This is useful especially for first-time recipients because they might be unfamiliar with the platform. They might not be sure on how to approach this. So this really brings all of the necessary information for your recipients so that they can be confident in their actions whenever it comes to engaging with their credentials. And this was the step 2. And after that, as the last step in our journey of increasing the student engagement, we will be talking about more high effort strategies that you can implement, but also these are the strategies that you can see the most benefit from. So the first thing is using your branding features to the fullest. And whenever I'm talking about the branding features, the email template and the branding part of the email template that we just talked about is a part of this, but it's not the whole story. Under branding, you will also be able to, first of all, customize your email sender address so that you can set up a custom email domain. And this will also increase your open rates because whenever the recipients see the email that is coming from your email domain, the organization that they truly know, they will be more likely to open and start engaging with their credentials. So setting up the custom email domain and customizing the email templates with your branding is does really make a difference whenever it comes to student engagement. Another part of the branding is customizing your verification page and your credential pages. In the left menu, you will see the verification page, and whenever you click on Go to Website Builder, you will be able to customize all of the aspects of your issue verification page where recipients can search for their credentials using the credential ID or their email addresses, and also the credential pages. So customizing these pages is also important because not only the recipients are seeing those pages, but when the credentials are shared, other people who might not have heard about your organization or about the course are also visiting those pages. So it's really important to include necessary links, courses or programs that you want to highlight, and the best place to do that is using the header and the footer. As you can see, I have added my different courses, so whenever someone is visiting the pages, they can also get information. In case they want to enroll or get in contact with me, they can easily get in contact with you using the contact button or visit your website. And also I have additional space in the footer where I can add links, additional resources, FAQs. So really making sure all of the pages that you want people to see, that you believe will cause more students and more recipients to enroll and engage with you, it's very important to place them in your verification and credential pages. And lastly, for the high effort strategies, I want to also talk about our newest feature and probably one of the most powerful features that we currently have in Sertifier, which is called pathways. I already talked about how we don't price based on the number of credentials, but based on the number of recipients. So really, you can really make use of this, and you can create structured pathways. You can send additional credentials to your recipients for people who are collecting the most certificates and badges, for people who are bringing you the most brand visibility on social media platforms. And I want to also build a pathway with you so you can also see how that works and how you can even further automate your credential without needing an integration. We can call this an in-house automation or integration. And let's go back to the app so that I can show you how you can create your first pathway. And this feature is accessible for all of our users. So this is why I'm really encouraging everyone to give it a try, see if it's a feature that might be useful for you, and create additional credentials or automate the credentials that you already have. And let's go to the left menu once more. And under advanced, the first page you will be seeing is pathways. And pathways will allow you to choose from already existing credential campaigns that you created. These also can be integrated campaigns as well, and allow you to connect them to each other and choose prerequisites for your credentials to be sent based on, and also automate the process. So I have the pathways title, which is which will be visible to your recipients as well, because the pathways, once created, will have its own page. And then I will enter a short description based on the campaigns that I have added to the pathway. Let's start adding our credential campaigns. In the first step, let's go with pathway credential 1. And I will also add another credential to the same step. Let's call it pathway credential 2. And for example, if these are credentials that are related to each other, I can make it so that whenever someone gets both pathway credential 1 and credential 2, they will automatically receive credential 3. Let's go find our credential 3. Once I have created the steps, then I can click on the credential that I want to create prerequisites for. And then I can choose, I want the recipient to be completed pathway credential 1 and also pathway credential 2. And once they get both of those credentials, they will receive automatically pathway credential 3, and the credentials won't affect your recipient limit because these recipients are already in your account. So you are just awarding them with a new credential, another marketing tool that you can have out there and work for you. And once I add the prerequisites, then I can turn the toggle on to send the credentials automatically. Or if I do not want to send automatically, I can also keep it turned off and the recipients will automatically be added to the list. Then I can just come in and send the credentials as they are. But I will keep this automated so that I don't have to think about it again. And once I create my pathway, then I can publish this. Let's save the changes that we made first. Then I can publish this credential. If you remember, I already mentioned that the pathways will also have their own pages as well. So this page will be accessible from the credential campaign, from the credential page, once the recipients start to receive their credentials on this pathway, so they can also see if there are missing credentials that they need to get to be able to get the next credential on their pathway. And once I create the pathway, the whole process will be automated and the credentials will be sent by the system. So this feature is quite powerful both in terms of automation, but it's also a great way to get more credentials out there that can increase your student engagement and brand visibility in social media platforms. Before we go into the live Q&A section, which we'll have just shortly, I also want to talk about some of our customers, which we completed case studies this year, and how they use Sertifier to increase their engagement rates and get more students. The first example that I have is ECI Coaching, which is an international coaching company based in Singapore. Whenever when they came into digital credentialing, the challenge was that they previously relied on printed certificates, and it's really hard to get engagement through printed certificates because it's much harder to share whenever compared to digital credentials, which can just be shared with one click. But with printed certificates, they don't get shared, and they are generally kept in drawers at the house somewhere. And since they were relying on printed certificates, they also had limited digital presence. And the solution was introducing digital badges and also focusing on the shareability of the credentials that they were sending out. Within the first year of working with us, we seen with ACI coaching that their engagement rates exceeded the industry averages by over 15%. Most of the graduates were proudly sharing their badges, but also one thing that was really wonderful about this case study is that ACI coaching saw alumni who graduated before they started working with digital credentials, and they reached out to them asking, hey, where's my digital credential? Because it was so good it was beautiful to see on social media platforms. So the alumni which were not in touch before also reached out to ask for their own digital credentials as well. And this also eventually led to more inquiries and more interest from new learners as well. So what we can learn about this case study is that engagement really fuels visibility. Whenever the credentials are being shared, not only the recipients are sharing their achievements, but they are also fueling other people to come in contact with you as well, which brings in you new audience. And also it shows that digital connection is a lasting connection whenever compared to more traditional ways, because it really keeps you relevant. The posts are being shared, are being reacted to, are being commented to. So this really keeps you in the loop. And the last thing that we can learn from this case study is that efficiency, whenever combined with marketing, is a win-win situation because you don't have to work as hard. I mentioned that digital credentials, you can think of them as passive marketing tools, because even though it's not the main goal to use them as marketing tools, they function as such. So with less admin work, you can get more reach through increasing your student engagement rates. And another case study that we also completed this year was with Prepare for VC. And we've seen a similar situation. Even though they were not relying on printed certificates per se, they were still creating those credentials manually. They were not using a digital credentialing solution. So with the manual certificate creation, there was no easy way for recipients to share or store those credentials as well, similar to how we saw in ACI coaching with printed certificates. So even though these were digital, since they were manually created, it also took more time. It was much harder for recipients to share. And the solution with Prepare for VC was first, of course, introducing digital credentials, but their approach was really valuable because they created distinct credentials not only for their students, for their graduates, but also for their mentors and for their alumni as well. And really uh, diversifying the number of credentials and awarding as many people as possible with as many credentials as possible is really what makes the work. And the results for Prepare for VC, 16% of all credentials issued were added to LinkedIn profiles and 19% of all credentials were downloaded. And they also seen higher emotional engagement because the recipients really responded well to their digital credentials. It looked good on their profiles, in their email signatures. It was also easy to share and engage with. And sharing across different social media platforms boosted Prepare for VC's program visibility as well, which drove in more students. So what we can learn from Prepare for VC, similar to ACI coaching, is that digital tools means less work for you and more impact that you can reach. And another thing is emotional connection also really matters. Recipients feeling recognized and feeling celebrated, and the engagement that you also give through liking or commenting on their digital credentials that they share on different platforms. This is what keeps students working with you and wanting to get more credentials and wanting to enroll more in your programs as time goes on. And with the visibility, with the brand visibility that you can get through digital credentials and the professional look of Sertifier's credentials combined with the design that you prepare as the issuing organization also increases your credibility within the industry as well. And these were all the things that I wanted to share with you today in terms of increasing student engagement. But we also prepared an action list that you will be receiving next week. And within this action list, we outlined all of these steps, and we also prepared some examples that you can take a look at and prepare your own email customizations and social media sharing text based on. So we will be sending you that action list, and our suggestion to you is that you start with low impact, low effort ones first, with the engagement reminder emails, with customizing your social sharing text. And once you see the student engagement rates go up, then you can move into the medium effort ones, and lastly finish off with the high effort and high impact strategies that we talked about, so you can see step by step how your student engagement increases, and also the other benefits that you will be seeing based on the number of recipients sharing and talking about your credentials. So we have some time. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat. If you want to, you can also open up your mic. I would love to hear from you. I will be able to show you any demonstrations through the app if you have any questions on the things that we talked about, or anything additional that we did not touch upon today. So I will be waiting a few minutes for any questions to come in. Matt? Oh, I saw your mic was off, on, so I thought you had a question. If you do, please feel free to open up your mic and ask it. You will also be receiving the recording of this call as well, so you can always watch it once again. But really, the action list will come in handy for you to start implementing your own strategies. Next month, we will also be giving out a webinar, a back-to-school webinar for any higher education organizations. So if you want, we would also be happy to see you there as well. Thank you for your time, and I wish you a great rest of your day.